90% of Americans live within 10 miles or less of a Walmart. The number of Walmart Spark drivers more than tripled last year, even if a large portion of that is fraud. In the current economy of inflation and soaring prices, a side hustle has become more than a choice for many people. It's become a necessity. Now, in my humble opinion, Walmart Spark is one of the best options as a side hustle in numerous markets due to the fact that 90% of Americans live within 10 miles or less of a Walmart. I'm not gonna lie, the gravy train of the old days is over, but you can still make decent money on Walmart Spark if you know what you're doing. So as someone that surfed this Walmart Spark wave for a while, let me share some insights that could make or break your year if you're starting a Walmart Spark in 2024. So number one, I would not commit to Walmart Spark full time. Now, while full-time gig work is possible and works well for many people, the majority of them do not do Walmart Spark full time, and for a lot of them, gig work is not their only source of income. Now, I did gig work full time for 2 years, and I was a big proponent of multi-apping, using Walmart Spark, DoorDash, Uber Eats, whoever paid you the most amount of money for your time at that time. Now, Walmart Spark can be your main app, but Walmart Spark alone should not be a solo venture for an extended period of time. Walmart Spark works best as a part of a bigger strategy, a means to an end, a stepping stone to achieving your dreams. Something you can use to make a decent amount of money in a little bit at a time. Now, regardless of your approach, try to avoid the bot epidemic to the best of your ability. Avoid both shopping at stores with bot activity obviously going on. If you don't know what obvious bot activity looks like, then yeah, look at this. Here's a video you can watch, and yeah, this is what obvious bot activity goes on. This is what somebody who doesn't care about the stats on their account and probably has some stats looking like this going on. Now, if you're at a store that has obvious bot activity and the remaining order volume isn't good enough, then my recommendation, number one, try to see if there's something you can do to fix your phone and try to get more orders. And if that doesn't work, it's probably worth it to consider just moving locations, go to a different store, a store with less bot activity. That would be my approach, and that would be my recommendation. Number two, educate yourself. Watch multiple gig tubers, absorb different perspectives, and if you feel like you have a unique perspective or you have tips and tricks that you can share to the community that you don't feel like anybody else is talking about, consider starting your own YouTube channel as well. Now, if you're just looking at starting a YouTube channel for the money, it's not something I really recommend. It's not something that pays you instantly. It takes a while to get monetized on YouTube. You might not get monetized. You might get monetized and get your channel deleted. You might get monetized and then get demonetized. It's, as people like to say, a hard way to make an easy living. There's a lot easier and more guaranteed ways to make money. Now, number three, understand the tips, tools, and technology you need to be successful doing gig work. When it comes to doing Walmart Spark, it's quite easy to make this job as easy as possible. And I use that word job erroneously, to be honest, because this is really more of a business. It's not a job. If you invest in your business, you can actually write off these expenses. Money you invest in your business and spend on business expenses is typically tax deductible. And by the way, I'm not a tax professional or a tax consultant, so go consult with a tax professional. But generally speaking, money you spend on apps, tools, and techs that you buy specifically for gig work is generally tax deductible. For example, the number one app or technology I recommend would be the Solo app for gig workers. Amongst other things, Solo helps me track my mileage, tracks my earnings, helps me estimate my taxes. I mean, personally, my favorite Solo feature is that it automatically tracks my mileage based on the gig apps that it links to, and I never even think about tracking my mileage anymore because I know it's always tracked with the Solo app. Now, previously, when I used the Gridwise, I would always forget to turn on my mileage tracking, and I was consistently missing mileage. So that's my personal number one feature of Solo, especially as somebody with ADHD. Outside of that, it's tax deductible, and the subscription actually helps me make more money than it costs me with the Solo pay guarantee. You can learn more about Solo by watching my Solo playlist below, as well as get a free $10 cash back if you sign up for a subscription plan using my link below. Now, the number one tool that I recommend makes my job so much easier. With Walmart Spark, you're often getting double and triple orders nowadays, and so I use my collapsible cart to help me take orders to the house, help me take orders from my car, my trunk, to as close as I can get to the stairs of an apartment or to the elevator. And it's something I use on a daily basis for most large deliveries, especially for the deliveries with multiple cases of water. And let me know, is it just me, or is Walmart Spark the number one deliverer of water in America? I swear I deliver more water on Walmart Spark than on any other gig app that I use. But let me know if that's just me or if that's your thoughts as well. But long story short, my collapsible wagon is the #1 tool that I use when doing Walmart Spark. There'll be a link to that in the pinned comment in the description section below as well. And then the #1 tip I recommend is to learn how to make the most money on Walmart Spark. One of the first things I recommend doing is subscribing to this channel, Dash Theory TV, the #1 Walmart Spark tips, tricks, intelligence, and technology channel on YouTube. And by the way, if you're getting value from this video, be sure to hit that like button as well. But also be sure to watch my Make More Money on Walmart Spark and Get More Orders on Walmart Spark playlist below so you can learn how to master those tips and tricks yourself. And as quickly as I say that and talk about making the most money you can on Walmart Spark, I also want to remind you to be mindful of how much you work and how quickly you can become overworked and burn out on gig work without even realizing it. And this isn't even to mention the toll that gig work takes on your body physically. Sitting is the new smoking, which is something that I don't think enough people are aware of and enough people talk about. Many people that do gig work also have another full-time sit-down job, also have sit-down hobbies. You got to sit down to eat, we sit down to watch TV, we sit down to poop, and then we go to sleep. I mean, when do we actually stand up and get moving? I say all that to say, make a movement an intentional part of your day. If you're a person that's going to be adding gig work onto your schedule and you already sit down for long parts of the day. Now, as far as the mental health aspects of gig work, my approach is to set boundaries. And although I used to do gig work until I got to a certain amount of money, I now do it for a specific amount of time, specifically to make sure those boundaries are set. It helps me to avoid overworking as well as to maintain a balanced life. The isolation of gig work also takes a separate toll on your mental health. Compared to most jobs, it's more isolated and just a relatively isolated job in general. You don't really have as many regular relationships. You don't get to vent about the stuff you see in and out like you do with a normal job, about the bad bosses, the crazy customers, etc. You don't have as many people to kind of just relate to and commiserate with. And for most jobs outside of the pay, the #1 thing that makes a job enjoyable is the people that you work with. Ultimately, with any job you have, if you can relate to and get along with your coworkers, it's more likely to make your job less stressful. And honestly, gig work really doesn't have those same regular outlets. And this is why I have a Discord, which is totally free to join, by the way. I have multiple forums on there. I have a forum specifically to vent and blow steam. So if you want a place you can just go to and blow steam and talk trash, it's not everywhere else in my Discord, but there is a specific place. Mind you, it's not meant to be a place where you can just go there and disrespect people, but it is a place where you can get things off your chest. A place where you can go and have some water cooler talk with like-minded individuals while you sit in a parking lot waiting for orders and side-eyeing people that you're pretty sure are using bots. Finally, have an exit plan. Everything I've said in this video leads up to this. Consider Walmart Spark as a stepping stone on your journey to something better. Explore other streams of income, whether starting a business, a YouTube channel, an Etsy shop, or whatever it may be. A side hustle is meant to be a side hustle, and you should really be thinking long-term and something sustainable. Walmart Spark and the other gig apps can easily have a place long-term as a part of a strategy, a limited number of hours a week, an extra couple hundred a month, something low stress that helps fund your other businesses or hobbies or whatever it may be, but not just a strategy in itself. And use it to help you look for and secure a higher paying job, or a job that provides actual opportunities for financial growth, not something that consistently gives you pay decreases. If you've been on Walmart Spark or any other gig app for more than 2 years, you've seen your pay get lower even though the prices have gone up. So consider that long term. And that's not even to mention the additional wear and tear on your car, the inflated prices for mechanics and car parts and replacement cars, etc., interest rates, and all of the above, which are basically just other ticking time bombs. Me personally, I recently finally got that promotion and raise on my W-2 job that they promised me months ago. And for me, it was either I get that promotion or I was gonna have to do something else, but staying in the same position for another 12 months, especially after they promised me that promotion, it didn't come through, that would not have been an option for me. So constantly be on the lookout for opportunities to increase your income or expand your skill set. Think about escaping the tipping culture altogether. Consider a job where your income isn't dependent on the whims of the customer and the economy at the moment. Think about jobs with a more stable income stream. Not to mention, tipping culture is constantly under assault by Gen Z, not to mention as America becomes a more international country and and people who don't come from tipping culture come here, tipping culture is going to become a dying culture in the United States. And that's not even to mention how tipping is being removed from the app in some cities, where regulation is being added to increase gig worker pay, and the gig apps are responding accordingly. Now, in addition to these things I recommend you think about before starting Walmart Spark in 2024, I also recommend you watch a ride along and understand what you're getting yourself into. So if you want to see how my first day of Walmart Spark in 2024 went, then watch this video now.